building careers in Manchester. That is the beauty. It's how amazing AI is. Now, what I'm going to be sharing with you tonight is not a sales pitch. It is not, well, you can call it a webinar, but it's one of the most important conversations that you're going to be having with yourself about where you're going. And I promise you one thing, by the time we are done with today's session, you are going to be walking away with clarity, you're going to have confidence, and you're going to have a concrete plan on how you can get into AI and start to build a career today. Now, before we get even further into our session today, I want to take a moment to acknowledge the people who are in the room. Now, over 100 people registered for tonight's session, and that is from Nigeria, from Kenya, from Ghana, from multiple cities across the continent. These are people, like I said earlier, with different backgrounds. You're all at different stages in your careers. You've all got different stories, but one common thread is your collective ambition. Some of you had to put your kids to sleep early so you could have this hour. You know, some of you are still sitting in your work clothes. Maybe you just got back from work. Maybe some of you are spending time and, you say, I'm going to spend some of my Saturday just tuning into this. Some of you are in a quiet corner in your house. And it's not because you have extra 2 hours to spend, but it's because you are looking for something. I'm talking students, people who are looking for jobs, working professionals, entrepreneurs, freelancers. Every single one of you, you're here because something inside of you said, we are tired, we want more. We know that AI exists, but the question is, how do we monetize AI? And like I said, AI goes beyond creating fancy new pictures. It goes beyond writing a text. And some of us, whenever we argue with our friends or our family members, we're really good at going to copy and say, who's wrong? Am I the one who is wrong, or are they the ones who are wrong? AI goes beyond that. With AI, people are building careers and making themselves millionaires. So how can you become one of those people today? Now, for some of you, you filled out a form and you gave us more insight into who you are. And this helped us put together what I would call audience persona. Excuse me. Some of you are physically exhausted. Some of you are in roles where your body is paying the price for your income. And we see this all the time in analytics. Most of the people, and I would even go as far as to say that about 95% of the people who walk in through our doors are dissatisfied. They are not happy with where they are at in their careers. They believe that they can earn more. They need the skills to earn more. Many of them are in diaspora. Some of them are in their home countries. But one thing is, they want to earn more. They're exhausted. Maybe they work shift jobs. And they see that people are constantly moving forward in their careers, but they're wondering, how can I become one of those people who moves forward in my career? Now, the first thing I want to say, for those of you who are one of these people, you are not alone. There are thousands and thousands of people who are skilled, who do not have jobs, who do not have access to the opportunities that they need. And I'll tell you, it all comes down to one thing. The reason why you are talented, the reason why you have the skills, but it seems like it's not working out for you, it comes down to one thing. It comes down to information. Information is the only reason that you are not where you need to be. And the good thing about information is, so long as you know the right place, so long as you know the right people, you will have access to that information. Now, who are the right people? What is the right place? Let me tell you why Analytics exists. Now, we exist because of one uncomfortable truth, and that is, the education system was not designed to get you a job. Now, when you go online, I'm sure that for many of you, because you know how the algorithm works, when you're interested in one thing, you find like 50 other of that stuff just thrown in your face. You're going to find lots and lots of programs. I would say, oh, come and learn a new AI skill. But for them, it's just teaching you the AI skill, and that's it. Whatever else you do, that is your business. But 10 Analytics goes beyond that because we've been doing this for over 5 years, and we've realized that it's one thing for you to use the skill. It's another thing entirely to close the job gap. Now, 73% of people who have the relevant technical skills, they still cannot land an interview. And what that means is that anything that I show you today, any new skill that I show you today, and all of the career paths I'm going to be walking you through, you can have that skill, but it still does not guarantee that you will get a job. So how do you close this gap? These people don't get jobs. It's not because they're not capable. It's not because they're not intelligent, but it is because they are missing a bridge. A system that is fantastic at taking what they know and connects it specifically to what employers are looking for. Now, if you learn with the right structure, in the right environment, with real project-based work and the right career support behind you, you can go from zero to offer ready in a matter of weeks. And we have done this, by the way. We have done this over 4,000 times, and we are looking to repeat that magic with the people who are on this call. So what I want you to keep in mind as we carry on in this conversation is that 10 Analytics business is what you would call a career activation system. You're not here to learn a brand new skill. You are here to become employable, to build the skills that makes you lethal in the job market. And that is exactly what we excel at. Now, I think I've given you an idea of who 10 Analytics is, but what do we excel at? Like I said, we've been doing this for over 5 years and we've helped over 4,000 people. Bear in mind, 4,000 people doesn't mean that we have only taught 4,000 people. 4,000 people means these are people who came back and said, we've gotten a job. Now, for those of us who are business owners on the call, there's something we call USP, which is unique selling point. It is the differentiation between your business and your competitor's business. Our USP at 10 Analytics is not a new skill. It is not getting you a new skill. It is you getting a job. That is why I said we build the employability pathway. So over 4,000 people have come back and said, I got a job. Now, one thing that we've noticed is that for every one person who comes back to say, I've gotten the job of my dreams, there are 10 other people who don't come back to share the good news with us. So like I said, a career activation system. Now, we help people transition into a range of career paths, which includes cybersecurity, data analytics, health tech, business analysis, data engineering, financial analytics, HR, agile projects management, and product design. So we have done this over the years, and like I said, we are looking to repeat this magic with you. Now, who is Lola? And why should you listen to me? Because honestly, you could be spending your time doing more interesting things. Well, my name is Olafemi, and I'm the COO of 10 Analytics. Now, over the past decade, I have built and scaled technology companies from the ground up. And I'm talking in different industries: fintech, e-commerce, golf tech, SaaS ventures, across African, European markets, you name it. I have sat across the table from hiring managers across different continents. I have also hired people from different continents. And because I've seen both sides of the table, I would say I have a very unique perspective into what makes you a lethal talent in the job market. Now, one thing that I have learned, and this is not from theory, but from watching thousands of career transitions happen in real time, is that talent is never the problem. The people who apply for these jobs, usually whenever your CV gets to the table of a hiring manager, you're already a brilliant person. You're out here in the market, you are upskilling. The fact that you're even in a room like this, in a webinar like this, is proof that you want to upskill. It's proof that you're the kind of person who wants to learn. But the problem is that you are missing the right system. The right system is the right information. Your skills structured the right way. You are missing the connection to the right opportunities. And that is exactly what I'm going to be sharing with you today. Tonight, I want to take you inside that system and I want to show you how that system works. So what are we going to be covering today? We're going to be talking about first the AI revolution, the scale of what is happening globally with real numbers. We're also going to be talking about the Africa opportunity, why 2026 is not just a good time to start, it's arguably the best time in a generation. We're also going to be talking about new career paths as well, specific roles, salary ranges. I'm going to be showing you the skills that is required for you to get into this system. We're also going to be talking about how 10 Analytics is a game changer for you. I'm going to show you our programs, how it's structured, and then I'm going to give you an insight into what happens after you graduate. We're going to be talking about real results. You're going to meet people who are sitting exactly where you are right now, wondering, is this the best move for me? And I'm going to show you exactly how they change their career trajectory. I'm also going to be showing you what your enrollment options look like. Now, let's begin with the number that should change everything about the way you see the world right now. Look at this. Look at what is on my screen. In case you're doing something, you're not staring at the screen, I want you to look at this. $4.4 trillion. This is the projected economic impact of artificial intelligence by 2030. By the way, you know what's crazy? This number, it is larger than the entire GDP of Japan. It is larger than the combined economies of every country of the African continent put together. And now in 2026, AI is already, it's writing code, it's creating content, it's analyzing business data, automating entire workflows, and creating six-figure salaries for people who know how to use it. Like I said, you think the use case of AI stops with generating pictures. Some people even think that it stops with generating interesting dashboards, but it is more than that. We've got entire economies, we've got entire businesses that today are running on AI. That is to show you how lethal AI is. It is literally a game changer. But the difference in the way the person who doesn't know how to use AI to earn and the way a person who knows how to use AI to earn, the difference in the way they apply it is information. And that information is what you're getting today. That information means that every single person in this room has a chance to earn a slice of this. Every single person. By the way, I'm not saying this because I'm being inspirational. I'm a product of the market. I'm saying this because this market is actively searching for people with AI skills, and it cannot find enough of them. And you can be one of those people. Now, before I go further, some people would say things like, well, if you already know this and if it's working for you, why would you want to help other people get to that level? I would like to gatekeep so that I can keep all the opportunities for myself. The very interesting thing, let me tell you one of the reasons why it is impossible for you to gatekeep with AI. For companies, for every single person that they bring on board who understands how to work with AI, they are accelerating. These days, when you are looking for jobs, nobody wants to employ somebody who doesn't know how to use ChatGPT. Nobody wants to employ someone who doesn't know how to use AI. You know what that means? It means that you're faster at the things that you do. What would take John, who doesn't know how to use AI, 5 days to do, it would take Janet, who is fantastic with AI, 5 hours to do. And this means that the company is saving more time. It means that you are spending more brain power strategizing as opposed to doing manual work, which is why AI is not something that you can gatekeep. For every single person who builds AI skills, you are literally accelerating not just organizations, but careers, lives, economies. And that is why part of our goal at 10 Analytics is to see that everyone, as many people who can join us on this movement in Africa, upskills with AI. Now, before I continue with this, I want to share a quick story with you. How many people on the call know the company called Klarna? That's K-L-A-R-N-A. How many people know the company called Klarna? It's R-N-A. K-L-A-R-N-A. Yes. Who knows Klarna? If you do, just send a thumbs up. Give me a thumbs up if you do. Who knows Klarna? Nobody knows it's a Swedish fintech company. Nobody knows Klarna? Okay. Now, Klarna is someone knows Klarna. Awesome. Klarna is a BNPL, and that's a buy now, pay later company. Now, what they did was that in 2024, they deployed an AI-powered customer service assistant across their entire operation. Now, in the first month, just in 1 month alone, what happened was that their AI assistant handled 2.3 million customer conversations. Now, this is equivalent to hiring 700 full-time agents. However, AI was able to do this. Now, what happened? Their customer satisfaction score, it went up through the roof. Klarna went from burning cash to keep customer support to reporting their first profit in 4 years. Do you know what it means when a company that was burning cash before is now reporting profit? It means that they have reduced a single cost function, and they were able to optimize this using AI alone. Their valuation also climbed towards $15 billion. And all of these changes happened just because they were able to optimize one small part of their system, which is customer support. Now imagine if they continue to optimize and optimize and optimize. Now the question for many people is, well, does this mean that we're all going to be out of jobs? Nah, that's not what it means. What it means is that AI replaced the people who didn't know how to use AI with the people who know how to use AI. And those people who know how to use AI to co-pilot, they were basically force multipliers because they were able to set up systems and manage the automation. That is the power of man and AI joined together. Now, in just a few years since AI launched, it has begun to transform career. Now, the question is, how fast is this train moving? Because I really want you to understand what the AI market looks like. Do you remember 2022 when ChatGPT first launched? Who remembers that? 2022 when ChatGPT launched. Does anyone remember on this call? You can send a thumbs up if you do. Who remember when ChatGPT first launched? Who does? Fantastic. Samuel said he remembers. Now, when ChatGPT, okay, Charity remembers. Okay, Gabriel also. Now, when ChatGPT launched, you know the craziest part? It got 100 million users in 60 days. Here's the thing. Nothing in the history of technology has ever scales that fast. Not Instagram, not TikTok, not even iPhone. That is how fast AI scaled. In 2023, AI was in major industries. I'm talking banks, hospitals, law firms, logistics companies, HR departments, marketing agencies. As a matter of fact, one of the easiest ways for you to raise funds is for you to build a company powered by AI. Because now what investors want to hear, what venture capitalists want to hear is that you're doing something in the AI space. You know why? Because AI right now, it is hot. Everybody wants to be doing something or solving problems in AI. Every industry began to integrate AI tools into their daily workflows, and they were basically rewriting job descriptions in real time. If I take you through some job boards, you're going to start seeing the way AI is being integrated into roles. Nobody wants to hire you for a job where you don't know how to use AI. It is impossible. In every single job, AI is now becoming a core part of it. And then we are also seeing this reflecting in the African job economy as well. Now, when I say the African job economy, it's vast. I'm talking about hiring within Africa and also outside of Africa, the kind of companies that use DEEL to hire, or also hire global contractors. Everybody wants to be a part of that movement. And I already explained this before. It is simply survival. It's not because AI is cool. AI is cool, but this is about survival. For the business owners on the call, when you have an advantage and you don't leverage it, you don't lean towards an advantage, your competition is already doing that. What that means is that your competition is going to scale faster. Imagine if Klarna had not integrated AI with their workflows. Imagine what would have happened. They would never have reached their $15 billion evaluation. It would never have happened, and their competitors would have done that. Now, if their competitors had done that, it would mean that their competitors had more money to move faster than they did. And because of that, Klarna would gradually crash in the market. That is exactly what happens when companies do not integrate AI. And it's why companies cannot afford hiring people who do not have AI skills. In 2025, AI skills became top employer demand. You know, one thing about AI skills, I've always found that the laziest people are always fantastic with AI, which in a way is it's kind of like is what do you mean? The laziest people is because lazy people will find the fastest way to do things. And when you find the fastest way to do things, you're naturally going to lean towards AI. So if you're a hard worker here, I want you to start thinking, what is the laziest way that I can do the best job? And when you start thinking that way, trust me, you will naturally begin to gravitate towards AI. So where is the world heading to today? We are at a point where the question is no longer whether AI will change things. It has changed. The question is, where will you be standing when the next wave hits? Now, I'm not trying to scare you. I'm not trying to scare you. By the way, the Industrial Revolution, it took 80 years to reshape work, right? But now what we're seeing is that AI revolution is doing the same thing in 5 years or less. And where we're standing right now is an inflection point. So it's either you move times or you do not. Regardless, AI will continue to grow, AI will continue to expand, and it is entirely up to you. Do you want to be a part of that movement or not? But the choice is entirely up to you. Now, I want us to let's examine something. Let's talk about money for a bit. Let's look at the gap between those who are skilled in AI and those who are not skilled in AI. What exactly is happening? The reality is that for those who do not have AI skills, we're starting to see that number one is your earning range is leaning towards, it's always going to be leaning towards less. It's going to be leaning towards less. However, people who have AI skills are making big banks all the way from Africa. Now, people are making between 1,500 to 5,000, and in many cases, even more, depending on your seniority level, so long as you have access to the right information in AI. So long as you have access to the right job boards, so long as you have access to the right skills, so long as you have access to the information that is required, and you know how to apply in the market, because applying on itself, in its own, is a. We're also seeing that people who do not have AI skills are limited to the local job market. So it means that this is all you can ever be. Wherever your space is, wherever it is that you are right now, you cannot grow beyond that. But people who have AI skills, they are getting global employer access. And it's a very simple math, really. It's not complicated. It's only because the only people who want to hire you are people who see the value of bringing you on board. If I don't see the value of bringing you on board, I'm not going to hire you. It's that simple. Who can tell me why companies exist? One reason why companies exist. Now imagine that you are a business owner, you own a business. You own a business, you run a business for one thing. Why do you run your business? Who can tell me? Give me one reason why businesses exist. One reason. Tell me in the chat section. You can just drop it in the chat section. Okay. Morakin, your said profit. Fantastic. Digital marketing said to solve problems. Amazing. Samuel said, I feel that, okay, I guess that's not for me. All right. So, Dr. said to satisfy the needs of customers to maximize profits. Chinaza said to create solutions. Samuel said to make money. So everything that you're saying, it leads to one place. I'm just going to make it very simple. To make money. You are solving problems so that you can make money. You create solutions to problems so that you can make money. Now, what that means is that everybody that you bring on board has to be. If you were an employer, I always tell people to practice something that I call employer empathy. Employer empathy is, I'm in the job market, I'm looking for opportunities. I want to see if I were hiring for this role. And that is where your employer empathy comes in. They want to see that you have the skills that can make money. It is that simple. Now, manual repetitive tasks for people who don't have AI skills, they are doing the same thing over and over again, but they're doing it as if they're in 2002. Meanwhile, people have learned how to use AI to handle 80% of manual work. It's just the gap just continues to widen. People who don't know how to use AI are competing with hundreds of CVs. Meanwhile, people who know how to use AI, they now have differentiated profiles. They know how to leverage AI to create fantastic resumes, to apply in minutes. And it still doesn't sound like AI slop. By the way, what AI slop means is it's just something like you put a generic prompt into AI and it coughs out something that it has probably coughed out for the last 10 people who used it. So it's pretty much the same thing. But people who know how to leverage AI and use it to its best capacity are creating fantastic, amazing work that is blowing the minds of employers. Okay, I see that your hand is up. I'm going to be taking questions after this session. Don't worry, I'm going to keep it as short as possible so we can wrap up here and take questions. And if you can't, you can type a question in the chat section. But after this session, I'm going to be taking questions. Now, we're also seeing that people who do not have AI skills, their salary hits the ceiling very fast. It means that you cannot make more than you are making right now. Like I said, practice employer empathy. If you were an employer, if you could promote candidate A or candidate B, candidate A has been building Excel sheets. And to build an Excel sheet for candidate A, it will probably take 2 weeks to build something that works, that is fully automated. But for the other candidates, they know how to use AI as a force multiplier to build a system in 2 days. A fantastic, well-automated system. It saves my business time. It saves me money. I'm going to be going with the other candidates. So for when it comes to how you can create like a career that works for you, accelerate fast, move quickly, the only way to do that is by leveraging AI skills. So you are at a serious disadvantage if you are on this call and you do not know how to use these large language models to their full capacity. Now, let's also look at what the job market looks like. I want to be very honest with you about this. The World Economic Forum, in its Future of Jobs report, it clearly states that by 2030, what we are seeing is that by 2030, 85 million jobs will be significantly altered or eliminated by artificial intelligence by 2030. However, 97 new roles will also be created as well. I want to give you an example of what I mean. Data entry and filing. Nobody wants a human doing data entry again. And besides, human beings are likely to make mistakes when they do it. So they would rather have someone who is fantastic at automating AI. So this would lead to AI automation specialist. What kind of data entry has to be done here? How can we automate this process? Basic accounting, now we have AI data analysts. Administrative tasks, we have AI business analysts to sit down and automate workflows to say, okay, I think this is the best way for us to do this efficiently. Report generation, we have AI content strategy, standard customer service, AI project managers. The point is that for every one of these tracks, we are seeing replacements pop up. Job roles are being defined, redefined in real time, and replacements are popping up every single day. And this is because AI is completely changing the way the world works. And the smarter AI becomes, the more solutions we are seeing every single day, and the more these jobs continue to change. And that is why it is so important that you understand how to use AI. Now, I want to share the story of a company with you. It's called Chegg. Now, Chegg was an American technology company. How many people on the call know Chegg? If you do, that's a Chegg. How many people are familiar with it? If you are, you can send a thumbs up. Anyone knows Chegg? Nobody? All right. Now, Chegg was an American technology company. Okay, fantastic. All right. Now, at their peak, they were valued at $12 billion. That's a lot of money. And their model was very simple. The students paid for tutoring support. They paid for things like textbook answers, and course stuff. It was actually very simple. But then Chat GPT came into the picture. You know what happened when Chat GPT came into the picture? It's crazy. Their stock, it dropped by 48% in a single day. And then their market value slowly declined. Today, they are sitting at below 97% from when it was at its peak. So they went from $12 billion to under 400 million. This meant that they had to lay off entire divisions. They had to lay off entire staff. And right now, Chegg is attempting to rebuild. But I look at Chegg as a cautionary tale. Like Jeff Bezos said, what is dangerous is not to evolve. And that applies not just on a company level, but also on an individual level. You want to ensure that as things are growing, as times are changing, that you are moving with it. As a professional, as someone who has a career, if you are not upskilling and moving with the times, I don't want to sound like a doomsday prophet, but you are pricing yourself out of the market. If you notice something, has anyone ever had this experience where maybe you were working a job before and then you resigned from your job and then they began to hire someone for your position, but then they were paying the person more than they were paying you? Has anybody ever had that experience before? You guys send a thumbs up. Anyone? Okay, I guess only Samuel. So nobody has ever left the job and noticed they were paying higher. Okay, David has. I think it's a universal experience. A lot of people have had that experience. You're going to see there's a disparity, and you know why? Because job roles are changing in real time. Requirements are changing in real time. This means that even though you were doing a job for 2 years, for 3 years, now when the person who is coming in, they are actually expected to do things at a completely different level because the market is shifting. But now imagine if this person was also armed with AI. They can literally be earning times 3, times 4, even times 5 of what you are currently earning. Now, let's get very specific. What kind of AI roles, what kind of AI jobs are being created? Now, the first one is AI data analyst. Now, what does an AI data analyst do? You analyze data with AI tools. You don't have to have a master's for this. You don't have to have a PhD for this, but this is literally a part of the 327 new AI job categories that is being created, and it's still evolving as time goes on. But these are roles that are always going to be in high demand. Now, depending on what country you're in, whatever African country you're in, Ghana, Kenya, whatever that looks like, you could be earning this or even more, depending. You could be, and it really depends on how you package yourself. I've always said that it really, when it comes to getting job opportunities, it's about your employability. Now, your CV, your portfolio, all of that can be amazing, but it's the way you answer questions when you walk in. When they ask you questions like, tell me about yourself, how do you answer that? Hi, my name is whatever, 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 and this is my background. This is what I can do for you. When you compare fantastic skills with great interview skills, trust me, you're going to get that job. So, and usually, candidates like that are able to completely shatter the ceiling when it comes to what they are getting. So your employability part is what sells you the most. Now, we've also got AI content strategists, AI business analyst. We've also got AI project manager. Now, for a content strategist, you're going to be creating content powered by AI at scale. For someone who is in business, who is a business analyst, you're going to be solving business-related problems, and you're going to be bridging that gap using AI. When you hear that workflows are being redesigned in real time, when you hear about new industries evolving, usually those changes are being led by business analysts. What is typical kind of business analyst? There's a reason why consulting companies like McKinsey and others, there's a reason why they have their bright minds, a consultant, upskill in AI as soon as it came out. That's because when they are consulting for you, they are also looking at what other options exist and how can we make this better. They want to ensure that they're giving you the best in the market, and they're typically the ones who will come on board and say, hey, well, we've got so many ways that you're bleeding money here. I think that you can lay off this entire department and automate it with AI. So if you want to be one of those people, you certainly want to go for this track. The AI project manager also, we also have AI automation specialists. These are people who build AI workflows, and the AI workflows run 24/7 on autopilot. We've also got AI HR analytics that track as well. So, and this is when people pair AI with people analytics. And it simply means that you're moving so much faster than your traditional HR tracks. Now, one of the reasons why these are the best ones for you to go for is because when you look at the World Economic Forum and you look at the jobs that are declining when it comes to demand and the opportunities that are ranking really high, these jobs are soaring above the rest. And there's something that we do at 10 Analytics. One of our major goals, and I said this at the start, is for every single person who walks into the door, we want to ensure that you are able to get a job. What that means is that this is not about you coming in and learning a new skill. That's step one. Learning a new skill is 25% of the work. The other 75% that would take you all the way to the end and getting a job is your employability. Now, the first way we make this possible is we are constantly on the lookout in the market for what are the jobs that are exploding when it comes to demand. That means if people are hiring for these jobs, if opportunities exist in this market, then it certainly means that the pay for this will also be high. So we look at things like job boards. We also look at what employers are offering for the role as well. And then we settle on the career paths. So beyond offering career paths, it's also about the ones that give you access to choices, that gives you access to what employers are willing to pay big bank for. And that is how we have settled on the options that you can see on my screen. So if you're thinking, what is the best way for me to break into this industry? What is the best way for me to monetize the skills that I already have? However, I want to take it to the next level, but I'm not sure what to call it. You can take from these 6 that I've got here on my screen and then decide what is it: data analytics, business analysis, content, is it project, is it HR, is it automation? Which one sounds and feels more like you? Now, I want to be very, very direct with you. There's something that we call the first mover advantage. The first mover advantage means that the first people who move in that line. For example, an example of a first mover is, you could say, Netflix. Now, when Netflix did their thing and moved in that industry, it means that they have left so much gap that it's literally impossible, not impossible though, but it's really hard for another company to come and be another Netflix. They have to have a very strong differentiation. That's what we call USP. Imagine you moving to a different site that is not Netflix, or you replacing your TikTok with something else. It took TikTok to come and, challenge Instagram. And despite that, Instagram is still growing strong. And that's why I said first mover advantage. There are some companies or some solutions that would exist that you have to have fantastic USP for you to overthrow them, because they had first mover advantage. Right now, we're seeing the same thing happen right now in AI. So what is your first mover advantage? We are currently existing inside a window. That window means that there is scarcity. The years between 2024 and 2027 are what economists and analysts, they call it the AI skills premium era. Right now, the supply of trained AI professionals is dramatically lower than the demand for them. So the supply is lower than the demand, and that means that the gap, it means that companies are paying a premium, sometimes 3 to 5 times the standard market rate for anyone who can deliver these capabilities. It's why I told you that what I have as a range, it's possible to earn beyond that, because there is scarcity in the market. When you look at the people who can create amazing things with AI, you don't find a lot of those talents. They exist, but when you look at how many of that talent exists, because there is scarcity in that sense, it means that companies are willing to pay more. Now, what is going to happen is that by 2027, people would have started to catch up. More people, just like you're on this call, there are other people who are also in master classes just like this, and they're catching up with the industry. And then we notice that the premium in the market, it will start to compress. Then by 2030, AI skills will be what Microsoft Word is like today, or what laptops are today, what computers are today, or phones, really. There was a point when for you to have a phone that is a touch screen, it was really cool. When you'd have a phone that was a touch screen, nobody did that. Everyone had a button phone. Well, there was a point when it was, now when you have a button phone or the flip, it's like, oh, is so cold. Really, that is antique. But this is how people were making calls like 15 years ago. So at some point, this is going to become the bare minimum. It is going to be expected for everyone to know how to use AI. It's going to be baseline. It's no longer going to be a differentiator. Now, you are sitting in this room in June 2026. It means that you are inside this window. This is exactly where you are today. This means that you have a unique opportunity. You have a unique opportunity to be one of the people who others are going to be studying in the next 10 years. They're going to be saying, oh, people like Tolu, people like Titi, they moved really fast. People like Adedeji, they moved really fast. People like Dorcas were one of those who got into the market when the market was still hot at the time. This is the best time for you to get into AI, for you to build opportunities or gain opportunities using AI. Not tomorrow, but today. Now, one thing that Sam Altman said, and if you don't know who Sam Altman is, he's the CEO of OpenAI, which literally is changing the world, or changed the world at the time when ChatGPT launched. He said AI will create the biggest economic boom in history, but only for those who learn to work with it. The biggest economic boom. You know what that means? It means that you have the opportunity to make bank with this. Your brother, your sister, your mother, everybody has the opportunity to make bank with this. It doesn't matter how old you are. It doesn't matter how young you are. The only differentiator is your skill. And that is why you need to get in on AI when you're still at this level now. Now, let's talk about a few myths. And that's why I first said, it doesn't matter how old you are, it doesn't matter how young you are. But people, when they try to do great things, they would literally talk themselves out of it. I'm too old, I'm too young, I don't think it's gonna work for me. I know exactly what some of you are thinking right now. You've gone over all of the excuses in your head. And this is the reason why it doesn't work for me. One of the first things is I need to be a computer science kind of person, or I need to be technical. Now, the first thing you need to know about programs, everything that you come into Analytics to learn is designed from the ground up for people without technical backgrounds. So long as you have a business background, so long as you're the kind of person who understands how to reason, and I think that's every single person we have on this call, you will catch up. This is not rocket science. So long as you are ready to learn, you will learn. You do not have to be technical. You don't have to know how to code for you to catch up with it. Now, you also do not have to be old or young or the perfect age. There is no perfect age for AI. You can be 16 years old. As a matter of fact, one of our alumni, his name is Christian. He's 16 years old, and he came into our community. He got a job when he was 17 years old, but it was his brother who recognized his skill and his talent and said, you know what, I'm going to sign up Christian for this. And Christian joined our community. By the time he was 17, I think it took him about 2 or 3 months after graduation, and Christian got a job. Christian got a job when he was 17 years old in a market where age is usually a barrier, because people would look at him that you're too young. What do you know? What have you learned? But what Christian managed to do was he managed to bridge the gap and to show that he is employable. He showed that, number one, I have the skills. Number two, this is what I can do with the skills that I have. And that is exactly what broke down all the barriers for Christian. So it doesn't matter if you're a technical person. It doesn't matter if you have a computer science degree. It doesn't matter if you don't have a degree. AI does not discriminate. That's the beauty about AI. The only thing that you need to know how to do is to reason. So long as you can reason, you will definitely do fantastic work with AI. Now, I want to walk you through the path of someone who has done this before. I want to show you the story of someone who has done this before and has gotten the results that I'm sure the people on this call want to get. His name is Olusegun. Now, Olusegun was an operations manager for a logistics company in Lagos. Olusegun had a strong background in finance. Now, in November 2025, Olusegun made a decision. And when you even look at it, his background is in operations, so he doesn't have a background in technology, he doesn't have a programming background or data science background. He's like most of the people on this call, he wasn't technical. But in November 2025, he said, I want to do something different. And then he joined the Analytics AI Automation Engineering Program. And 8 weeks later, in January 2026, he completed the program. Within the same month, he landed a remote job in Canada as an AI automation engineer. Within the same month. And then, because Olusegun is the kind of person who does not stop moving, in April 2026, he set up his own AI consultancy. You can go check out Olusegun's story, which is one of the reasons why I said, please fill out the form that my colleagues are dropping in the chat section, because we're going to be sharing lots of amazing things with you. Olusegun's story is just the tip of the iceberg, but you're going to be seeing people who have done it before, people who have achieved the results that you're looking to achieve, so that you can, there's a saying, in Africa, in Nigeria, we say follow who know roads. That means follow someone who has done it before, so that you do not repeat, you don't have to repeat mistakes that there's already solutions for. So follow somebody who has done it before. In this case, we're going to be following Olusegun. So fill out the form that my colleagues are dropping in the chat section, and then you're going to have access to this slide. You can read through it on your own when you're comfortable, just in case maybe you're busy or you're on the move. Now, I want to break down exactly how Olusegun did this, because understanding his path is understanding your path. Now, one of the first things that Olusegun needed to do in order for him to break down this barrier. And while you're thinking about that, asking yourself, how did he manage to land a remote job in Canada within 2 months? How? Let me know the people who are in this room. Is there anyone in this room who is maybe looking for a remote job, or am I getting ahead of myself? Is there anyone in the room looking for a remote job? Okay. I see we've got so many people interested. Okay. Whoa, I can't even start calling out the names. All right. All right. Interesting. Okay. Now, who wants to see with me how Olusegun did it? Do I go forward or do I pause? Okay. We've got fantastic. We all want to see how Olusegun did it. Awesome. Amazing. Now, the question that we should be asking is not how lucky was Olusegun, because I want to tell you something. It wasn't luck. The question is, what did he do specifically that led to that outcome? Because when you understand the mechanics, you can replicate it. And there were 5 things that he did, 5 specific steps. And every single one of them is part of what you get in the 10 analytics community. I'm going to be walking you through all 5. Now, step 1, he learned a high demand skill. That's the first thing that Olusegun did. He learned a high demand skill. Remember when I said that every single path has been laid out in 10 analytics is designed according to what employers are hiring for right now. Now, because our USP is you coming into learn a job, because let's be frank, you can go to Udemy, you can go to Coursera and go and learn a new skill. But what you don't get there is community. What you don't get there is the employability aspect, and that is what differentiates us. So one of the first things that he did was he picked one of the courses that we have that has already been designed to ensure that you are not only learning a skill that is in high demand, but also a skill that pays incredibly well. Now, he picked from, if this is you, and you can just imagine that you're stepping into Olusegun's shoes, I want you to start to imagine to yourself, what is the best role for me? What is the best career path for me? Is it data analysis, AI in BA, in projects management, in HR, content creation, or AI automation? What does this career path look like for you? But the first thing that Olusegun did was he needed to choose a path. And for him, it was AI automation. What that path looks like for you, it can be different. But for Segun, it was, I'm going to stick with AI automation. Now, the next thing that Segun did in order for him to get what he wanted, by the way, he chose AI automation, not because it was the one that is in most demand or anything in 10 analytics, but because it is one of the hardest roles to fill in the international tech market. So again, look at the market and then look at your skills. From where he was standing, Segun already had operations background. And if you know anything about operations, people who are in operations are typically very good when it comes to automation. They're very good when it comes to workflows. And workflow design is one of the things that you need when it comes to AI automation engineering. So he was looking at his background, and then he was looking at what he wanted to do. And that was how he chose the best path for himself. So whatever it is that looks like for you, just ensure that it is something that is a fit for your background and also for the future that you're heading to. But you've already got fantastic choices to choose from. The only thing is you have to go on and make that decision for yourself. Now, the next thing that he did was that he learned the skills the right way. Now, how did he do it? And what does the right way look like? So the first thing for Olusegun to do was that he needed to learn how to build or how to learn in the project-based environments. That was the first thing that he did. So what I mean by project-based environments, and when you're looking for a job in the market, one of the first things that employers look out for is what we call a portfolio. And I know that the people on this call understand what I mean. But a portfolio is it's basically a list of all of the projects that you have worked on, the most interesting ones that look very good. So For him, he needed to build a portfolio. This is one of the mistakes that people who learn from generic places, this is one of the mistakes that they make. They think that just by learning the skills, it would telepathically occur to a recruiter that you have the skills, but they only understand what they can see. And when they can open a portfolio to see your projects, to see what you have built, then it is easy for them to say, I want to interview James before I interview Matthew, because I can see that Matthew has real world knowledge about what I'm talking about. So he learns in a project-based environment by doing real work. In 10 Analytics, you are going to be learning and building your portfolio in real time. By the time you are done, you already have a portfolio that employers want to see. It is a portfolio that differentiates you from the market, a portfolio that you can showcase to recruiters and to employers. So it's not a different timeline. It is happening concurrently. You are learning, you are building your portfolio, and they are all happening at the same time. Now, what are some of the projects you're going to be working on? Because if this was you, remember, we're following your path, but then we're also following the path that Shegun made. And you're going to be working on, say, 10 to 15 projects. 10 to 15 projects. And you're going to be building interesting portfolio case studies, interesting things that go into your portfolio and differentiate you. These are some examples of portfolios and some of the case studies that are going to be going into your portfolio. Now, imagine that you were a recruiter. When a recruiter opens a resume, and by the way this works, we've got what we call the ATS, Applicant Tracking System. Now, look at the job hunting game as a pyramid. Now, at the bottom of the pyramid, you have every single person who is skilled. You're skilled, you're smart, you have everything that you need, but you are at the bottom of the pyramid with everybody else. Now, in order for you to get to the next level, you have to first apply. But then when you are applying, you cannot just apply with anything. What I mean is, every job has a job description. That job description has what we call keywords inside of it. So when companies are setting up applicant tracking systems, they set them up to recognize keywords. So a keyword, for example, could be Power BI. It could be AI. It could be ChatGPT. It could be Claude. But then when you are applying and your resume does not have any of these keywords, it kicks you out automatically, instantly. So in order for you to get to the first level, you have to be applying with an optimized resume that has the proper keywords in it. In order for you to get to the second level, you have to have a portfolio. A portfolio is what would make a recruiter look at your resume twice, because your resume is what I call your tell. Your portfolio is your show. In your resume, you can say things like, I optimize XXX by 20%, by 30%. In your portfolio, you're going to be showing what that looks like. It gives the recruiter something they can see, something they can understand, and it's completely different from your resume. This is one of the reasons why a portfolio places you light years ahead of others. And like I said, as you can see, in Olusegun's case, it helped him get a job all the way from Nigeria in Canada. Now, one thing to also note is that you also want to be learning from the best people in the market. And 10 Analytics is accredited in the UK and in Canada. And this is because in the job market, whether or not you are applying from Nigeria, from the UK, from Canada, from US, you want to ensure that you are working with a brand that is accredited. We have accreditations from the UK and from the US as well. So for Shegun, he wasn't just learning from a generic program. He was building his portfolio, working with people who are accredited across the UK and across the US. This means that we understand, we know exactly what the market is looking for. Now, one thing that Shegun also did as well is that he built foreign work experience. One of the things that would keep people away from getting jobs is that they don't have local experience. And for the people who are immigrants, this is something that they've always heard. They would always hear, if you step into the UK market, if you've ever lived in the UK or in the US or in Canada before, when you enter the market and you're looking for a job, you're going to hear, "Oh, have you ever been employed in the market?" Especially if you don't have a local experience on your resume, forget it, you're not getting in. And then it becomes like a catch-22. How do I get in if nobody's even gonna hire me so I can build the experience? But point is that it also applies when it comes to remote work. Nobody wants to hire someone who doesn't have local experience. So the best way for you to gain foreign work experience is while you are learning, you are building that experience by working with a brand like 10 Analytics. So how exactly was Shegun able to get foreign work experience? Because remember, Shegun had only ever worked with Nigerian companies and he wanted to get a job abroad. Shegun got his experience, number one, by building projects from class. Now, one thing I always tell people is that 10 Analytics is a community. It means that when you come in, you are literally inside of a community. It's one of the things that makes us very different from other programs in the market, is that you are in a community. Now, inside of your community, you are learning by building, and you are building by learning. So this gives you projects that can always go on your portfolio. And then you can also list 10 Analytics, because remember, we are accredited in the UK and in the US. We also have our headquarters in Canada and in the UK as well. So this means that you can list 10 Analytics as a previous work experience, and voila, you have international work experience. So you don't have to start going above and beyond when it comes to getting foreign work experience. Just by virtue of you being present in our community, you already have the experience that you need in order for you to build fantastic, fantastic portfolios, but then to also blow out every doubt in the market, blow your competition out of water. You're in Nigeria and you already have Canadian work experience. So that's one thing to keep in mind. How do I get foreign work experience? Nobody's going to hire me if I don't have this. You are getting this experience simply by being with Analytics. And that is something that Shegun also had as well. So Shegun was able to list 10 Analytics as a previous work experience on his resume. And then he listed the projects that he built with 10 Analytics. So what this meant for the jobs that he was applying to was they were looking at it, does he have a European work experience? Has he ever worked in North America before? And because he had 10 Analytics, it was easier for him to break through the barriers. Now, what is step 4, which is how do you apply for jobs? Because knowing where and how to apply is completely different. Remember that I spoke about the ATS, which is the applicant tracking system. There is literally a strategy to job application, and if you don't know how to do it, you are going to fail. It's not a curse, it's simply fact. So how did Olusegun apply for jobs? Because this is where most talented people fall down than at any other point in the process. This is because you're applying in the wrong places, you are using the wrong format, and you are applying for the wrong type of roles. Olusegun did not just apply, he applied strategically. So Olusegun applied to different kinds of job boards. However, what this strategic application looks like was he wasn't sending the same CV to every listing, which is to every job that he saw. The first thing was that he tailored his application to the specific role. Like I mentioned, I was talking to someone who were having like a career clinic, just to find out. He had come into our program and he didn't have a job. Then he came into our program about a year ago or so, and he was very pissed off. He said, "Oh, but you promised me I was going to get a job, yada, 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 and now I don't have a job. What is going on?" So we got on a call to find out what was going on, because it was weird. And when we started talking, started asking him questions, first of all, what is your CV? Let's take a look at your CV. How are you applying for jobs? And the CV that he was using was certainly not the templates that we had built for him. So that was the first miss. His CV was horrible. The second thing was, when I'm saying his CV was horrible, what I mean is that, those Canvas CVs, I don't know if anyone has ever seen those Canvas CVs, those templates, if you have, send a thumbs up. Those Canvas, if you're using them, just go and throw it away immediately. Those Canvas CVs will cost you more jobs than they get you. They look beautiful, they look amazing, sure. But when it comes to them getting you jobs, it's not going to work. And that's because the applicant tracker is already filtering out your application because it's looking for what it can read. These systems are being run by AI because there is no international company that you're applying for today that would have one person who their job is just to sit down and be reviewing thousands of resumes. The same way you see a job that pays $5K and you want to apply to, it's the same way 500 other people want to apply to that job. So nobody's going to sit down and be reviewing 500 resumes like we're in 1996. So they use AI for this. And unfortunately for those your pretty lovely templates, AI cannot read them. So if you're using a font that is not Calibri or it's not Times New Romance, it cannot read it. It can read things like Poppins and others. So it has to be a very specific type of font. If you've got your picture there, the ATS can't read it. And then it could also have quality filters as well. So it could be literally filtering out your resume as you are applying. If you have some kind of bullet fonts, you know those fancy things that people use in Canva, it's not going to read it because it simply cannot read it. So when I looked at what his resume looked, I was like, okay, yeah, this is one of your problems because it's not even getting to the table of a real person. Then the second thing was, I asked him, when you're applying for jobs, do you customize your application to fit it? He's like, Lola, that's too much work. Oh, why would I be doing that? I said, now I see part of your problem. Because it might be that it's stressful. And to be honest, I'm being very honest with you, anybody who promises that you are going to get a job and they don't tell you the truth, is that getting a job, it's kind of like you have to take looking for a job as a job in itself. Otherwise, you will not see the results that you're looking for. There is nothing good that comes as easy as we would like. So you have to work hard for it. So if you're not treating getting a job like a job, it's not going to work. So he said that it's too much work. So which means that you are taking the same resume that you used to apply, for example, to Amazon, to apply to Meta. How? Are they the same? And for every single job that the recruiter puts out there, their need is different, even though it's the same role. For example, if we're hiring for a data analyst in Tenalytics, what I'm looking for in a data analyst is different from what Amazon is looking for in a data analyst. Let me explain. Amazon is looking for someone who understands e-commerce. They're looking for someone who understands shopping carts, someone who understands, numbers across different continents, who understands how to pull insights. Their need is completely different. It's focused on the e-commerce space. My need is focused in EdTech. The kind of tools that I use is different from the kind of tools that Amazon uses. So that means that when we're putting together a job description in Analytics, and when Amazon is putting together a job description, their needs are completely different. And this is why your resume has to be a mirror of the kind of jobs you are looking to get, because every single company has different needs. So if you're not taking your time to read through the resume, to customize your role, you already price your from the moment you hit apply, you're not going to get that job. It's a waste of time. And then when we began to also break it down, first of all, why aren't you getting interviews? We looked at his LinkedIn. His LinkedIn was complete rubbish. It was rubbish. It wasn't optimized. There is no way recruiters will find you. So my whole point is that looking for a job is a job in itself. Getting the skills, that's 25% of it. The other 75% needs to come together so that every other thing will work out for you. This is the part where people get confused. They have no idea what to do here. You don't have to do that yourself. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. You don't have to go out and start asking ChatGPT, how do I become employable? It's okay. We've done it over 4,000 times, and we want to do that with and for you. Now, Olusegun was applying for jobs on sites like Remote Rocket Ship, Remote.io, UK Visa Jobs, Outlier, Job Gather, Visa Jobs HQ. So these are sites, Built-in and others. These are sites where you can find remote jobs. And you can take a screenshot of this page or not, it doesn't matter. When you come into our community, we have so many resources. Like I said, this is a community designed with one goal in mind, to get you a job. That's it. You are here. We are going to ensure we work together to make you employable. We're going to be giving you the skills, the resources, the tools that you need to build your employability and to crush competition in the market. So you can take a screenshot of this, or it's so much easier for you to join the community, whichever one works for you. Now, another thing that Olusegun needed when he got a job in Canada was what? Reference. Because nobody, again, is going to hire you if you don't prove that you have done this before. Now, remember that Olusegun listed Tenalytics as his experience in Canada, but he also needed reference from Tenalytics to keep the job. And then this is like an example of people who we provide reference to. I'm not going to run you through a few of them. We've provided reference letters for people in the NHS. We provided reference letters across different industries, but they would reach out to say, hey, you know, we need to be sure that this person, blah, 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 works for your company, or can you verify this person's work history or character and all of that. We have a session that we hold routinely every month. And in some of these sessions, we call in some of our alumni. One of the most memorable one was one where an alumni, her name is Toyin, and she moved from Nigeria to Canada a few years ago. She joined our community and she got a job in a few months. She spoke about how she had applied for a job and they had reached out for a reference. And then at the end of the day, her employers told her that we had already shortlisted you and 2 other people. And we were confused because we didn't know who to go for. When it comes to your skills, the way you interviewed, everything was perfect. And we couldn't choose one person. Do you know what blew the other competition out of water? It was the reference that she got. They said, look, your reference was so amazing. When we called for reference, they had nothing but fantastic things to say about you. And it wasn't like that with the others. And that is exactly what you get with Tenalytics. We will sing your praises to heaven and back again. To anyone who reaches out to us and say, hey, I would like you to verify that Tolu can do the job, that Charity can do the job, that Gabriel can do the job, that Isaac can do the job. You are getting the best reference, not the usual reference. You're getting reference that closes the deal for you. So we don't just train you and wish you good luck. We are giving you the full package. I'm talking skills, portfolio, CV, LinkedIn, interview preparation, job application strategy, and reference that closes the deal. What do I mean by interview preparation? How many people know how to answer the question, tell me about yourself? Or when you get into interviews and you've got stage fright, all of a sudden you're shaking, you don't know what to say. You're wondering, am I going to say the wrong thing? When they ask you questions like, tell me about a time at work when for some people, interview is the worst thing they can think of. They hate interviews. So when they have an interview, they're already shaking. You've already decided that you are not good enough before you even walk into the door. Then your hands start to sweat. We have what we call interview preps. And that means you come into our community. If you get 50 interviews, 100 interviews, 200 interviews, just book a session. And we're going to get on a call with you. We're going to simulate it. We're going to be looking at the company that has invited you for an interview. And we're going to say, what kind of questions are you likely to get? By the time you practice and practice and practice, trust me, you're in a much better position than if you were just walking into the interview without practicing. Now, I want to quickly share a story with you. Okay, I want you to, Francis, he got a job as a data quality officer in November 2024, and this was after he completed our data analytics program. As you can see here, Francis, we got reached out to, the government reached out to find out whether or not Francis had actually taken a program with us, and then to also provide reference for him as well. So again, this is exactly how we help you land jobs. We provide you with references and a full suite for you to choose from, you know. So one thing to also keep in mind, because I want to show you the complete picture, is the full architecture of what we have built. Now, the first thing is that you learn the skills. The second thing is that you learn the packaging. The packaging includes things like you're gaining experience while you're learning the skills, your CV revamping, your LinkedIn optimization, your portfolio, mentorship. What is mentorship, you may ask? Mentorship is where you get people who have done this before. People like Shagun, for example, people like myself, people like industry experts who come in and they say, hey, you want to get a job in the industry, this is what you need to do. We share fantastic tips during our mentorship sessions. We teach how to make yourself employable. We teach you how to completely crush interviews, how you can answer interview questions, impress recruiters and employers. So you don't want to miss mentorship. Mentorship session is where all of the magic, well, some of the magic happens. And then, of course, there's the interview prep, and then there's also the job reference as well. So that is the packaging aspect. Then application. We show you how to apply. We show you where to apply. We show you paid job boards. We help you tap into those job boards. So what we do is that we partner with many of these job boards. So you don't even have to do it by yourself. So we partner with the job boards, and then we bring up jobs that you can apply to. We do this every single week. You get jobs delivered to you that you can apply to. And then we also show you some of these places where you can apply to jobs. We show you hidden job markets. Now, the reason why this is so important is because as someone who is looking for a job, one of the biggest mistakes that you can make that will price you out of the market quickly is by focusing only on LinkedIn. When you ask some people, how many job boards do you know? I promise you, before they call like 3, they would have said LinkedIn, they would have said Indeed, and others. And there are so many other job boards, but people only know these ones. And this means that naturally it is saturated. There are too many jobs there. Everybody knows it. So even when you go on LinkedIn, sometimes you see over 100 people have applied, which means competition is more. And where competition is more, the chances of you standing out is significantly reduced. This is why access to hidden job boards is so much better. When you pair all of these strategies together, there is no way you will not get your desired outcome, which is a job. This is what Olusegun did, the strategy that he paired together that got him a job. So imagine where you are right now and where you want to be. Imagine where you are right now and where you want to be. The question is, are you comfortable where you are right now? I want you to type yes or no in the chat. Are you comfortable where you are right now? Is this the best that you can do? Do you think that you have reached full potential? Or do you think that there is more for you? Do you think maybe you could be earning more? You could type yes or no in the chat. I don't know, maybe you're comfortable, that's fine. But are you uncomfortable? Do you think maybe you could be doing more? Okay, Chinaza said no, James said no, Elijah said no, Bassi said no, Isaac said no, Ryan said no, Happy said no, Charity said no. So many people are saying no. Trust me when I want you to look in the chat section, by the way. You are not alone. David is not comfortable with where he is right now. I'm sure Trust is not comfortable where he is right now. Joel is not comfortable where he is right now. There are so many people who believe that they can be doing more. But the question is, are you doing more? And you absolutely can. Trust me when I tell you that you can. Okay? So how do you do more? Remember what we just walked through: the learn, the package, the apply equals the job. Pavel also used the same strategy as well. Pavel was a teacher in Cameroon before he moved to the US. Now he was teaching. Pavel did not have a tech background. He did not have a data background. However, he joined our 10 Analytics data analytics program. He attended every mentorship session. He built his portfolio. He tailored every application. He applied consistently. He applied strategically. And in March 2025, he landed a healthcare data analyst role with Arizona Community Physicians in Arizona. So when you look at this, in less than 3 months after completing his program, he got a job. He moved from being a classroom teacher to being a healthcare data analyst in the US. And he did this in 3 months. I'm not asking you to believe this happened because I told you. You can go on our LinkedIn and go check it out. You can also fill out the form that my colleagues are dropping in the chat section, and you can listen to this recording that I have attached here and hear Pavel say it in his own words. He doesn't just describe the outcome, he also talks about the journey, the times when he doubted himself, his moment of breakthrough, and when he receives the offer. That moment that happens for Pavel is available to you, not as a fantasy, but as a plan. And so long as you are ready to step into it today, trust me when I tell you that your AI career is only this far. We've got so many other interesting people as well, people like Judith. We've got people like Bukola as well. There's so many stories, and please do not take my word for it. Go on our LinkedIn, go on our YouTube, and check out some of these stories that we've got. These are real people, and you can DM them, by the way. You can send them messages on LinkedIn and say, hey, I heard fantastic things about analytics. Is it true or is it a lie? And hear what they have to say about the program and about what their experience was like and the jobs that they got. The point here is we want to repeat the same magic that all of these people had. We want to do that for you. Now, what is the program structure? 8 weeks. 8 weeks that will completely change your career trajectory. You're going to be learning things like the foundations of whatever it is that you choose to get into in the first month, the foundations of AI, your tools. You're going to be learning your core skills as you go on. You're going to start building your project. And then by the end of this, we're looking at a full-on career launch. You're not going to leave with just a brand new skill. You are going to leave as someone who understands employability. And by the way, you also have access to our community. You have live sessions every Saturday. You have recorded replays during every session. So in case you miss any of these sessions, you can always come back and you can watch it. You've got your peer community. You have mentor access. And then this is 8 weeks of transformation. And like I said, again, we are a community. And what that means is that in case you need help, in case you need support, you always have access to the community. We have people who have graduated who come back and say, hey, I have a problem in class, or I have a problem at work, and I need you to help me out with this. There was actually a lady who came to me and she said she had a problem with Workday. It was Workday. She said she had a problem with Workday. She had graduated about 3 months, a year. I think it was 3 months. And she came back and she said, oh, at work, I have a problem. We have to use this tool and all of that. We got on a call with her. I got on a call with her, and the idea was to help her unblock everything. And we did not drop off that call until I helped her solve the problem. So that is how present we are, not just when you are in the program, but even after you leave. So you always have access to support when you need it. That is how we activate careers. Now, our next cohort is starting July 4th. Our next cohort starts July 4th. That is less than a month away. In less than 1 month, you could be in week 1 of the program that changes the trajectory of your career. In less than 3 months, You could have the skills, the portfolio, the CV, the LinkedIn optimization. You could have access to as many interview preps as you require, and the job application infrastructure to enter the global market. In less than 2 months, you could become one of the most sought after professionals, not just because you have the skills, but because you understand how to package yourself. By the end of this year, you could be Olusegun, you could be Judith, you could be Pavel, and you don't even have to move from where you are. You don't have to be in that market directly. You could be in whatever country it is that you are working remotely. Or, and I say this with complete respect, you could be exactly where you are right now, watching that window, the AI window, watching it get a little smaller each month. Now, the July cohort has limited seats. And this is because we deliberately limit enrollment to protect the quality of our learning experience and the attention that our career coaches can give to each student. So this means that when those seats, when they fill up, they are filled up. The next opportunity after that is another month away. So if you're ready to step in, this is not a decision for next week, it's a decision for today. If you are ready to step in. So what does this look like? First, this full program costs $250,000. However, the webinar price, and that is a today price, is $150,000. Now, another fantastic thing is that you can also secure your spot with a $50,000 deposit, and then you can spread your payments across the months. $150,000 is less than the first month income for an entry-level remote contract in the field that you're about to enter. It doesn't matter what that field is, but all of the career tracks that I have laid out for you. Do you want to go for business analysis, AI in business analysis, AI in data analytics, AI in HR analytics, whatever it is that you want to go for, AI in automation engineering? $150,000 is less than your income. And then you are not actually, I would look at it more of as an exchange when you think about it, because the value that you're getting back is like 16 times what you are actually investing. Now, if 150,000 is a stretch right now, this is where the deposit comes in. Oh, I'm not really sure this is the right thing for me. I want to check it out. I want to test it out. That's fine. Pay in tranches. Join our community. Start to learn. Now, another awesome thing about this, if you decide to start today, is that you are also going to have access as well to mentorship sessions. Remember the mentorship sessions that I spoke about? The mentorship sessions that typically they happen every Thursday, by the way, and they are only for the people who are already in our community. You are going to have access to mentorship sessions starting immediately. That means you don't have to wait. You can have access to mentorship sessions as from next week. So if you are ready to step into it, to start immediately, this is certainly something that you do not want to miss. Now, I'm sure that you're already thinking about which one is the best one for you. I'm hoping that you're actually thinking about that. So start thinking, what track is the best fit for you? Now, the original amount, remember, is $250,000, and this is discounted. You can get in at $150,000, so long as you lock your spot for $50,000 today. And this discount is for the first 10 people who register. I want you to look here. You can see this number that we've got here. In case you have a problem with payment, you can send a DM to this number. Or in case you have made your payment, you can send a DM to this number and say, hi, my name is Sharon, and I just paid for this program. Now, my colleagues are also dropping a link as well in the chat section, and that is your link for you to either book a clarity call or for you to secure your spot. Now, what we call a clarity call, for the people who don't know, a clarity call is, well, I'm not really sure which one is the best career path for me. I'm not sure about that. So I want to be sure this works for me. So with the clarity call, it's a one-on-one, kind of like this conversation. The only difference is it's you and I having a conversation. And we're going to be asking you questions like, talk to me about your career, about your background. And this is all to get to know you better, because the better we know you, the better we can design a career path that is a fit for you. Now, if you click on the links that my colleagues are dropping in the chat section, you're going to come to a page that looks just like this. You're going to click on view programs, and then you're going to see all of the programs that we offer. Like I mentioned, AI for business analysts and project managers. We've got content creation as well. So if you're a creative, we've got AI automation engineering, we've got HR analytics, we've got data analytics, we have AI software and website development. You know, one of the best things about AI, I think it's the fact that before it used to take weeks, months to build an app. And these days, people can build apps instantly with AI. Have you seen some of those videos, those AI videos that you see a lot of people pushing out there? We've got the ones that is like fruits. I don't even know if it's like the tomatoes and the carrots, and they're animated and they tell really interesting stories. You see things like that on Instagram, on TikTok. You consume the content and you move on. But people are making a lot of money from that. That is where content creation comes in. People understand how to monetize social media using AI. There are some accounts with gorgeous women and gorgeous men that you follow that are entirely powered by AI. You don't even know, because when you're looking at them, they look like AI. AI has gotten to a point where you could be on a video call with someone having a conversation just like this, and this could be AI. And who's to say that I'm not AI right now? That is where AI has gotten to. It's scary, but you literally have to be in on it. Otherwise, you are pricing yourself out of the market. We've also got AI for HR analytics, AI for data analytics for our corporates in the house. So this is how you make yourself an asset at work. This is how you make yourself one of the best at work. You don't know how Janet gets work done faster, 5 times than you do. How they build dashboards, build Excel sheets, and they're able to automate it and build fantastic features that would take you months to learn. That's because they have learned how to use AI as a force multiplier. And that is the point that you need to get to. AI software, website development. People are building entire websites using AI. As a matter of fact, before I continue with this, I want to quickly show you a website that we built entirely through AI. And this was done in only a matter, I think it took us about 24 hours to build this. Now we're running a program. It's a hackathon. I'm going to come back to this. It's a Hack AI-thon. But this entire site was built using AI. And just stay tuned. Keep your eye on our social media pages. We're going to be showing you exactly how we built this AI, this website, using AI, the tools that were used and the features, all of the interesting things that it has, and how we're able to power all of this. So this is part of the magic that you can create when you sign up for the AI powered the AI developer course. Now you just click on enroll now, for example. When you do that, you have to put in things like your name, your phone number, and all of that in order for you to sign in. I'm just going to use my email to sign in. And then when you're done signing in, the first step is that you have to create your account. Once you're done signing in, you choose what your payment plan, what you want your payment plan to look like. And then depending on whether or not you want to choose a flexible, depending on the one you want to go for. If you want to go for the 50,000, the 50,000 times 3, which is where you're paying 3 installments, then you can go for this. Or if you want to pay for your program in full, you also get another discount. Now, this is for the people who decide, I'm ready to pay in full. I don't want to pay in tranches, I want to pay in full. However, for my skeptics on the call, you can decide to pay in 3 parts. However, for my people who are money conscious and who like value for their money, you now get another extra discount, which brings your total price to 120,000, which means that you are saving in total 130,000 when you look at the 250 that the program is originally priced at. Now you can select your currency, whatever that looks like. If you want to pay in Naira, if you want to pay in CDs, you can select your currency. Now, once you select your currency, then you move to making your payments. Also remember to select your payment plan, whichever one works for you, and then you can complete your payment. So remember, it's a very, very simple system. It's very easy for you to go through it. Select your payment plan, and then choose the cohort you want to. You just come here. So you come here, you select your cohort. So maybe you want to join the June cohort, or you want to join the July cohort. Now, one thing I haven't shared with everyone on this call, we actually have a late registration that is going on. So you can actually still join the June cohort. The June cohort started today on the 6th of June. It's already started and people have already been onboarded. However, if you want to get in, that is, oh, I can't wait for the next 1 month and I really want to get started immediately, this is the best time for you to do this. That's because in the next 24 hours, this site is going down. So it means that you cannot select June 26 anymore. That's what I mean. So when you come here, you're only going to be able to select July and August. So if you want to get in, this is the best time for you to get in. So you can come here, select June, which means that you're starting immediately. Select your payment plan if you want to pay it in 2, in 3, whatever that looks. If you want to pay it at once, then you select the currency and you click on pay. That's it. When you click on pay, you are redirected to complete your payment. And this is all you have to do. Once you complete your payments, you gain access to your dashboard, and that's it. Your journey has officially started. Now, for the people who decide to pay outside of this webinar, the first thing is I cannot guarantee that you're going to still have access to the discounts, because again, this is only for the select people who decide to take charge during this webinar. But another thing is that you're also going to be missing out on a host of things. One of them is that for the people who pay today, you're gaining access to our mentorship session that's coming up, and it's going to be a fantastic mentorship session. We're going to be talking about things like how you can become employable. We're going to be talking about how you can get jobs in the US, in the UK, in Canadian markets. We're going to be sharing tips, application tips, on how to make yourself the best and most obvious candidate. We're going to be sharing a lot of freebies as well on the call. We've actually got a list of job sites prepared for the people who join that. And we're going to be sharing that during the call for everyone who joins us. And then another thing you're also going to be getting is a one-on-one conversation with me. So if you decide, I want to get in today, I'm done being scared and I'm ready to take full charge of my career, full charge of my life, we're going to be having a one-on-one. And this one-on-one would be happening in the next week. Immediately after you were done with your payment today, you're going to be getting a link and we're going to be scheduling a conversation where you can talk to me about your career, you can talk to me about what you're looking to accomplish, and I will help build a plan that is tailored for you. How can you become a beast with AI? How can you stand out in the market? How can you be one of the best candidates? And that also includes things like interview support, one-on-one. Now, for people who pay, you're still gaining access to this. The only difference is for everyone else on the call, you would be gaining access to me, and we'd be having a one-on-one if you lock down your payments today. So you have a job you want to go for, a job interview you want to go for, but you've got nerves. Your nerves are racking you. You're scared. You have no idea how you're going to deal it. We are going to get on a call and we are going to fight those demons together. I'm going to be sharing all of the tips that I know with you. We're going to look at the job description, and then we're going to simulate the questions that you would most likely get. And then I'm also going to be sharing a toolkit as well that you could share with the recruiter. You know, there are some candidates that you talk to and It seems like they already understand the way your business operates. Because of that level of insight, it's obvious, it's a no-brainer who the best candidates for the job is, because when other people come in, they are looking at it from a generic perspective, but there are certain candidates who know the right questions to ask. They've already put together a fantastic strategy on how they would solve the problem if they were in the job. And they're already finding problems that you didn't even know existed. So by the time you're ready to get in, we're going to be learning that together. So if you have any questions, it's the best time for you to raise your hand, because I'm going to be wrapping up right now. But I would like to know, though, if you have any challenges, maybe when you're trying to make your payments, you can let me know and we can unblock that together. But if you've got any questions for me, this is the best time for you to raise a hand and we can talk about it. So does anyone, I saw that some people had their hands raised up at some point, but you've put your hands down. So if you've got any questions for me that you would like me to answer, please raise your hand and we can talk about it. Okay, Samuel, are you raising a hand? Are you raising a hand, Samuel? Okay, do you want to unmute your mic and speak? Samuel, are you there? Do you want to unmute your mic and speak? Does anyone have any questions? Anyone? Do we have any questions on the call? Okay. I'm just going to go through the chat section. I think we've got a question. Okay. NCCAC. I'll take your question. Please unmute your mic and speak. Are you there? You can unmute your mic and speak if you've got a question. Can you unmute? Okay, let me add you as a co-presenter. I think maybe that's the problem. Okay, can you unmute? NCCAC, can you unmute now? Okay, I can't hear you though. Maybe that, I guess that's a network thing. Samuel, can you unmute your mic? Samuel? Samuel, if you're speaking, I can't hear you. Okay, so while we're waiting for NCCAC and Samuel to unmute their mics, I'm going to go through the chat section. All mics are disabled. Uche, can you help with this, please? I just made you a co-presenter, NCCAC. You should be able to unmute your mic, actually. Can you see the button? You should be able to click on the unmute button. Can you see that? Okay. Can you see that? You can just send a thumbs up if you can. Okay. I'm getting a prompt that the host has disabled that feature. Uche, please enable the feature so Samuel can speak, please. You should be able to speak now. Samuel, can you see that now? Uche, are you there? Could you help unmute his mic? Negative, not yet. Okay. It's enabled, actually. You should be able to. Samuel, can you confirm if you can? You can send a thumbs up if you can. You can't? Okay, that's odd. I can't unmute from here as well. All right, you can please drop your questions in the chat section. I will answer while Uche figures out how to do this. Okay. Thank you so much, Tope. I appreciate it. Ursula said, what if I'm already a student? Can I get a mentorship session with you? Absolutely, you can get a mentorship session. Please reach out to your facilitator, and if you're already a student, then we can absolutely work it out. That is fine. You can get a mentorship session. Please drop your questions. Ryan said, I'm from Sierra Leone and I'm having difficulty making payments. Okay, do you want to drop your email in the chat section, please? Drop your email and your phone number, Ryan, and my colleagues will help you out with that problem. Samuel, you're a co-host now, so you actually should be able to unmute your mic. But I can see your question. You said, for a student that is interested in more than one program, what are the options? I see that you can unmute your mic now, so if you want to expand on it, you can.
All right. Very good evening, Lola and the entire team. Thank you so very much for this priceless opportunity. I'm so glad to be in this call this evening. And yes, my question is just as you have read. I noticed in the course of filling up the survey form, there was a space whereby three options were given, and I had to select one. It's a radio button, not a selection button. So just one option applied. So in a situation whereby I'm interested in possibly two options, so what are your recommendations or how do we go about that?
I'd like to know, what options are you interested in?
Specifically AI automation and AI with software development.
I see. You have good eye. You have a good eye, Samuel. Okay. So what I would actually advise is that you start, well, you can, if you want to lock it down for this price, I think I understand why you want to do both. That's a completely different thing. So first thing is that you make your payments first for one of the courses, and then you now send the message. My colleague is here. You can drop your email in the chat. So I would advise that you lock down either the AI automation or the vibe coding track, whichever one you want to look, just lock down one of them first. And then you can send a message to my colleague, or we can reach out to you. You can drop your email right now, and we'll certainly reach out to you to work it out. But we're going to take it one step at a time, because one thing that I've noticed is that when it comes to learning, you have to space it out. You can't learn both of them at the same time. So the way we're going to do it is you're going to go with one first. You're going to learn AI automation, and then you're going to learn vibe coding. So it's you're starting one first, you finish that, and then you move to the other one. However, you can lock it down for the discount. What do you think about that? So you're doing both of them, but you're starting one, you finish up with that so that you learn the basics, you learn the principles, you learn how to apply it, and then it actually becomes value for you when you're moving into the next, because you already understand foundations that make you even better at the next stage. What do you think?
Okay, I think that's quite a good deal. And let me just leave further comments until Monday night, God willing, because I filled up the form and I already locked in a one-on-one session for 8 p.m. West African time on Monday. So I
Okay.
will leave further comments and, uh, everything until that time, God willing.
Okay, fantastic. Awesome, awesome. Thank you very much, Samuel. All right. Do we have any other questions? I know that Insika was trying to unmute at first. Insika, are you still trying to unmute? You can just raise a hand if you're still trying to unmute. Insika, are you on the call? Or you can type your question in the chat section so I can take it. Insika, are you still on the call? Oh, I think Insika might have. Okay, you're a meeting host now, actually, so you can unmute. So just try unmuting, click on the unmute button, and it will work. Insika, you can unmute your mic now. Okay, I guess Insika can't hear us. But do we have any other questions in the house? If you have any questions, if you need clarity on anything, I'm here. What questions do we have before we call it a day? John, is your thumbs up? I have a question or not? Do you have a question, John? Okay, I don't think that John has a question. All right. Does anyone have any questions? because we're going to be wrapping up. All right. So Ryan, Tolulope has sent a phone number. You can send a DM, but we already have your details, so my colleagues are going to be reaching out to you. Now, for everyone on the call, I see that we don't have any questions, but one thing I want you to keep in mind is that the AI opportunity, it's a very small window, a very small window. And why I say it's a very small window is because at first in 2023, after ChatGPT became a thing in 2022, it exploded, completely exploded. There was a point where really popular companies and really popular employers like Elon, like Zuckerberg, they were only looking for people who have skills in AI. That is still a thing, by the way. We've also got consultancies like McKinsey and others who are looking for people who are really smart, because they see that professionals who are very smart are the ones who typically are very fast to upskill in AI, and they are the lazy ones. The lazy ones will always find the fastest and most efficient ways to do things. That means that they are basically like hiring two employees. It's the most efficient way. In 2024, it expanded. In 2025, it became normal. In 2026, that window is starting to thin out. So if you want to become the best in your field, to get access to remote opportunities that position you for greatness across the world, this is the best time for you to get in. If you wait until 2027, you're already too late. If you wait until 2028, there's no guarantee that this opportunity will be in the market. By then, everyone has expectations that has significantly increased, even though AI will still be a thing. But it's the people who are starting right now, the people who are upskilling today, that would be first in line for unique opportunities like that. So you want to ensure that you are positioning yourself for greatness in the market. Don't price yourself out. Don't tell yourself, oh my goodness, it's too expensive. I don't think I want to go for this right now. Trust me, you go for it right now and your tomorrow self is going to thank you. By the time you get in and you're doing so much amazing things with AI. So my advice to you is to lock it down. Lock down your future, get into AI, and start doing really amazing things. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining the call. We've spent about 2 hours together, and we're really grateful on behalf of myself and my colleagues to everyone who has stayed on the call with us. I can see that some people have already started to secure their spots. That is fantastic. Very well done. And for every single person who decides to join the cohort that already started today, I will see you in class. And for the people who are joining the July cohort, I guess we'll be seeing you next month. Thank you so much, everyone. Please enjoy the rest of your evening, depending on where you are. And please take care of yourselves, and bye.